Selam millet, Nasıl Başardılar serisinin yeni videosuna hoş geldiniz. Bugün yanımda yine harika bir konuk var. Tesla'da çalışan bir mühendis kendisi. Hep beraber onu tanıyacağız. Okay, so Sebastian, firstly, thank you for joining my video.
Thank you, my pleasure.
Okay, so can you please introduce yourself?
Okay, I'm Sebastian Cao. I was born and raised in Argentina, in South America, really down far south. I lived several years in Colombia and in Mexico, and I've been here in the US in Silicon Valley for the last 3 years now.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so can you mention about your education and how was the school for you?
Sure, as I mentioned, I was raised in Argentina. I went to nothing out of the ordinary high school in Argentina, pretty common. Then I did engineer background in computer science, a BS in computer science in Argentina. As soon as I finished my undergrad there, I started to teach classes. I became a TA until all the way till full professor because I always loved both learning and teaching. And then I left the country, as I mentioned. I lived several years because of work. I was traveling a lot, and work took me working for an American company, for a software company here from the US, to Colombia, and I lived there for 6 years, 2 different cities. And then I moved again to Mexico City, and I worked in Mexico for another 3 years. And introduced also my career. I ended up being the CTO or leader. I was heading all the products and technology for a big software company from the US, but for Latin America, all the markets, including Brazil. That means that I had to do business in, 15 different countries in 2 different languages, and have people reporting to me into 5 different countries. So that gave me a lot of exposure to cultures and be open to different things. And I was doing really well, and I decided to break my career in my 40s and stop doing all of that and came to the US to Stanford for a master's degree.
Yeah, okay. Then let's continue with the master degree.
Yeah.
So people also curious about, the application process, how it goes for the people. So how did you decide to apply a master degree, and how was the application process to Stanford?
So I came to Stanford in 2018. I did an executive program that it's like executive course that is like 6 weeks. But we're here living in campus, so all around, all that we're seeing over here. So I fell in love with the campus. I was learning a lot, talking to a lot of professors, running, biking through the hills, and say, I love this, I need to go. Actually, I went back to my previous job in Latin America with all these crazy Stanford-ish ideas of changing the world. I tried to do a lot of stuff, and they say, yeah, you know what, thank you, beautiful, but no, we're not doing any of that. Okay. So I say, okay, if you're not doing anything, then I might be in the wrong place. So I wanted to reapply or come back to Stanford now with a proper, I wanted to, again, learn again, probably change my career again. So there's, in the masters, in the School of Business, there are 2 kinds of masters. The MBA, that is usually for younger, really in their 20s, early 30s students, right out of, with a few years of experience. And they have this MSX, that is the one for experienced leaders, meaning you have at least 10 to 15 years of experience. So meaning you have seen a lot, you have gone through a lot of things. And all of us, I will probably say 97% of all of my peers were kind of the same place in their careers. Middle age, middle career, say, hey, I had enough of what I'm doing, I'm enjoying it, but it's not enough. Sometimes it was about, I would like to change geographies, or I want, in my case, more impact and doing something that is different what I'm doing. Everyone was kind of reinventing themselves here. So
basically you are impressed from your experience at Stanford, and then when you cannot find what you're looking for by the people, so you decided to come back here to actually change something.
That's a perfect, summary.
Okay, let me just highlight in Turkish. Arkadaşlar, Stanford'da geldi ve bu tecrübesinden etkilendiği için tekrardan buraya gelmek istiyor ve sonrasında burada aslında bir master degree'ye başvurmak istiyor. Okay, so you come here to Stanford for your grad school, and you finished it, and then what happens?
Something happened that they actually recommend me not to even try that, and I think this is a good piece of advice. They say, especially when you're coming for grad school, you're looking for a pivot, right? Something that we use, a word that we use a lot here in Silicon Valley. Pivot, change directions. They say you can try 3 different pivots. You can change geographies, so like coming to the US from a different country and work in a different company, in a different country, I'm sorry. You can change roles, kind of working on the same industry but doing different, so you're going from sales to marketing or engineering to market. Or you can do a change of industry. You're working in tech and you go to real estate or private banking or whatnot. One thing that I remember people really recommending do not try the three at the same time because it's too much. So I did the 3. So chances were slim. So I came from Mexico to the US. I changed from mostly my whole career doing pre-sales, technical sales, and architecture for software into sustainability. And I changed roles because I was, as I say, most on the side of advising and selling and driving growth into operational role at Tesla. So I'm telling you what happened in the end. So I came to the US also and to Stanford because I wanted to learn more about sustainability. Having a background in technology and software that I think is helpful for everything nowadays. We talk a lot about impact. I was not feeling that having the right impact. I was not waking up every morning and say, hey, what I'm doing is actually helping the world. Yeah, we were selling software, business was good, we were making money, but there was no actually something that you're creating something for the better or just changing something. So I was both concerned and interested in climate change and climate warming and all that. So I decided to come to learn more about it.
Okay, so let me ask you a question.
Yeah, that's
your
what I came to.
Your background is computer science,
yes,
which is highly technical.
Yes.
But what you do is like you said that there was 3 ways, and you've changed your path.
Yes.
Like, what was your motivation? Did you have some specific goal to achieve?
That's really good. I think I wouldn't say a specific goal. I wanted to change directions. I wanted to work on something that I would say, hey, I'm proud of what I'm doing, and I could tell. And I mean, it actually happened. That's another. After I was accepted at the masters, with my wife, we found out that we were having a baby. So I was becoming a father. So I wanted to say, hey, what I'm doing is actually making it better for my daughter in this case. So I wanted to have that impact. So it's more. I was not sure where to go or what to do or which kind of company. It's not like, hey, I want to be software engineer level 3 at Google. But I say I want to work on problems that are worth solving. I want to work on problems that are important.
Different approach. Okay. I think it was really great. Let me highlight this point. So I think it was a different path you started, but then your priorities has changed apparently.
Absolutely.
Right? Arkadaşlar, Sebastian'ın dediği, yani aslında yola bir bilgisayar mühendisi olarak çıkıp yolda kendi öncelikleri ve kariyer yolu da değişiyor ve buna göre aslında şekilleniyor. Yani tamamen Google'da çalışacağım, şurada burada çalışacağım diye bir önceliği yok. Bana ilginç bir yaklaşım olarak geldi doğrusu. Okay, let's continue. So let's come to the part Tesla, which people will be so curious about this specific part. So, how did you decide to apply Tesla?
All right, that's a really interesting disclaimer that I don't work for Tesla anymore. I just wrapped up 2 years. I left the company a few weeks ago. But it's a good story. It's kind of crazy, but I think it only happens in this place, right? That's why I came to Stanford, because I knew, okay, everything related to sustainability and all the opportunities would be around campus, companies around campus, and VCs on the other side of Franklin Road, for sure. So while at Stanford, we have something called the Blast. I don't know you guys in undergrad, but it's just a mailing list that gets to everyone. No, this is specific for the GSB, the Graduate School of Business. It's just a mailing list, so you can send an email there. You have to be a student, but you send an email, and all the students currently enrolled at the GSB will get a copy. So there was a lot of back and forth, jokes, whatever. There was obviously a lot of jobs offerings, and someone shared. There was a current student at the time for MBA, I think, an email from a lady at Tesla. And there was no job description. They say, we are Tesla, we are growing super crazy, we have a lot of issues, we would like to come join us and help us solve problems. Okay, solving problems, check, I like that. And then what I was curious is there was, again, no job description and there was no qualification, even though by there was some self-selection because the email was sent to the GSB at Stanford. But it says if your background, you have previous background being a founder, being in the military, right? Not everything. Some of this, being a founder, being in the military, being a public servant, having work or having experience in different countries, kind of all different things that was not the usual job description, like 3 years doing this and 4 years doing that. And it's just, if you have enough broad experience, we would like to talk to you. And I said, okay, this is kind of, I was curious about this is interesting. So I answered the email and I got an interview.
Mailing list, okay.
Mailing list.
So how was the application process? You sent your application and then what happened?
There was no application.
No
I never sent, I actually uploaded my resume. So this is, by the good and bad, you can tell Tesla is a very particular company, in all different ways. So probably it's not the same everywhere, but I just uploaded my resume at the end of the process just to check it for the recruiter to send me an offer. But they have an offer before seeing my resume. Obviously they check my LinkedIn and all that, but I talked to this lady. This lady was actually tasked to bring different talent, and Tesla is awash with talent, but kind of different talent, probably coming from business school, and new talent that would kind of shake or help the culture that was there, that was really engineering led, like a startup. We built the whole thing ourselves. Elon sleeping at the factory floor and the whole thing, the hero play. That is nice, and you can learn a lot from that, but also now the scale was different, so I want to bring talent. So they asked me about my experience. What are things that I have done that work really well, and what are the things that work really bad? Like, give me example of things that you have failed. They liked the fact that I lived in 3 or 4 different countries. Obviously, that shows that you can adapt and you have kind of some sort of elasticity or brain elasticity in a way. They liked the fact that I was a founder. I don't know anything about cars. I know about software, but I drive cars, but I don't have any understanding of how they work inside. I don't care either. So it was not about that. So I had one interview, and then I have 5 different interviews.
Okay,
with 5 different, with all stakeholders, people that either will work with me in the future, or I will work for them, making stakeholders, kind of people in the field that my position will serve them, will give them information, data, or will solve problems for them. And that was, and the funny thing is, after 7 interviews, they never shared with me what was the job description. So I keep asking, okay, what do you want me to do? And they say, we have so many problems, we'll give you a problem and fix it, run with it. And I talked to a lot of people from, again, I was a senior director coming from my career. I mean, I say, are you sure that you're going to go like no titles, that just be there and say, I want to try. So there was no title whatsoever. There was no team when I joined the team. It was individual contributor after probably 20 years of being a manager, or 15 years of being a manager. So I had to let go a lot of ego, but most people advised me against it. But as I came to this place, I came to make a difference. I like a mission. I would love to see more EVs than gas cars, and I think this is the place to be. So I got the job.
Yeah, okay. But can you mention about these different interviews? You said like 7 and 5 different interviews. So much interviews. Yeah,
and many interviews, and I will say that I end up in what's called program management. That is basically fix problems by understanding data. So you have to have really quantitative skills, but they never ask for it. They just give it for granted by being at Stanford. But mostly you will have to talk to user, you have to talk to the field and stakeholders, and you, from both sides, make things happen. So there's a lot of negotiation and influence and all that. And coming from sales and everything that I have done in different countries, say, okay, being a founder, you're probably seen a lot of that. If you apply for a position at the really engineering, car engineering low level at Tesla, you will get into a lot of technical questions for sure. But this particular role was mostly about, I would say, soft skills and human skills and negotiations. So they were testing all of that by asking questions, and 7 people, male, female, VPs, engineering manager from engineering, kind of different roles, talking to me and just getting a grasp of who I was and what were my intentions, my interests. And they probably make a decision as a group, and I joined. As like 3 months into it, I got a team, and I was promoted like 8 months into the job. But it took for me to actually accept a lot of things that probably not many, at least none of my friends and colleagues will accept. That's for sure.
I see.
It was a fun ride for sure.
Yeah, you just wanted to give it a try.
I wanted to give it a try to be in a company that goes as fast as the speed of light, probably, and with a lot of really good things and some bad things about it, but I just wanted to try that out.
Yeah, they had the reputation so quickly.
Yes, but you need to be open to have a different interview process, a different role, a different title, or no title at all, and a different way to work. So you have to be open to that.
Okay, so it's a little different from our flow, but I'm curious. Do you had any conversation with Elon Musk?
I get the same questions. No, and I wasn't looking for any conversation.
Okay.
Really, what I heard that conversation with Elon are really short. Yeah.
Okay.
Most of the time, there's a lot of pain involved, so I was happy where I was.
Okay. So I also want to ask the working atmosphere.
Yes.
Like, how was it? How was people and atmosphere you've been into?
Okay. So first, it was a really flat organization. When I joined, again, there was no title, but there was only 2 people on the org chart between me and Elon. And you can see Elon on the org chart and see all his reports, really flat. So there was not, coming from corporations, you're used to a lot of layers of people that had to say yes before doing. The whole system was created for you to start working without asking permission. So you have permission to try, you have permission to test stuff. That's really startup-y, but it's hard to keep that way when you are a huge company, a global company with, I don't know, 6 factories, and last time I checked, 100,000 employees. The other thing that I like, and you can ask for a meeting to any person in the probably Elon if you dare to send an email, but I didn't try. But you can ask any VP or any other one for a meeting to discuss some idea of some project, and everyone will say, "Yeah, let's meet." There was no go through my channel. But 2 caveats to that, and I think they're important. First, it should be a good meeting. So you really need to have the data, and data, not a hunch, not an idea. You have to have data to back up whatever you want to do.
Okay.
If you have the data and you have a good hunch and say, "Hey, we try this. This is a good idea," they will probably say go for it. And what help do you need? If you don't have the data, you will never get a second meeting.
Okay, I see.
So that's a thing that I liked, to have that level of access and to be open, but you really have to be prepared, and you really have to measure. And they, like many companies in Silicon Valley, but especially they measure everything. So you have a lot of data points, sometimes too many. But if you make sense of those data points and you have an idea, you can approach any high-level, even Elon's direct reports to show them an idea, and you will get a meeting.
Okay, I think it's an important part to highlight. Arkadaşlar şu anda Sebastian'ın dediği şey, yani siz Tesla'da bir çalışansanız ve eğer önemli bir şey varsa ve elinizde data varsa bunu sunmak için orada bulunan insanlara erişebiliyorsunuz ve onlarla bir görüşme ayarlayabiliyorsunuz. Yani aslında onlara doğrudan erişebiliyor olmanız da çok güzel bir yan. O da zaten bunu sevdiğinden bahsetti. Ama tabii ki elinizdeki datanın iyi olması gerekiyor. Okay, so let's continue with the question that I'm really curious. What you don't like?
About what?
About Tesla, the experience.
Oh, really? And this is going to point. You're getting me to travel. I mean, again, no, I think it's public. I mean, and you can tell for the people that work for Elon, you have to really put a lot of energy and stamina and hours. If you are changing the world, that demands a lot of energy. And I will say, when, in my case, for an immigrant with a small child, and I think it's a great company if you are in your 20s and you're willing to give it all. If you have more demands around you is that it's not 100% for work, 100% of the company, it's hard. They expect you to be 110% committed and online. Mm-hmm. Because the problem that they're solving is quite big, and I understand that. So I'm happy to say I manage enough just to do my job and be successful without compromising my family and my time. Mm-hmm. But if you want to progress in your career, there's more and more and more. So you have to have a certain skill and a certain structure around your life to be able to do that.
Okay.
And not everyone can do that. That's what I would like to say. So, but it's probably the case for many startups. So.
Okay, so what are the things that you like? I just wanted to ask the don't like question before the like question.
Okay. As I mentioned, kind of the velocity of making decisions, making not that many layers of approvals. You get a good idea, you get a good hunch, you can approach everyone. We were all, the VP of sales of North America that reports directly into Elon was like 2 desks away from me, so I could go there and, hey, what about this? What about that? So that, and no one was looking, my manager was not concerned that I was like skipping him and going directly to his manager. Mm-hmm. Yeah, again, if I had the data and all that, being able to create something new. I mean, every time we had some ideas that will change the way the app behaves, the Tesla app, or even something in the car that will be replicated to, I don't know, 4 million cars worldwide, and it's just an amazing feeling that you're actually changing how a car behaves in a way.
Yeah, also I see so many Tesla around here, like a lot.
Yeah.
It's really common in Silicon Valley, I think.
So, and again, talking about purpose, I think we should all be driving electric vehicles. It doesn't make any sense. Here, because here I learned all the physics and the chemistry around energy and all that, and burning gas to move is a waste of resources. Absolutely. You want some fun facts about that?
Sure, of course.
So when you're driving a gas car, if you are putting $1 of gas, 80 cents, 80% of that gets wasted as heat. It's explosion. Only 20 cents, 20% actually moves the wheel. Okay. Because we are just compressing. It's a lot of heat. It goes to the exhaust, and there's a lot of waste. If you have if you have a battery that will send electrons, like electricity to a magnet that will move the wheel, $1 of electricity uses 80 cents to move the wheel, and 20 cents only gets wasted as heat.
Okay, I definitely don't know that.
See, so the problem is we've been driving gas cars for 100 years, and you have all these layers of things, but it doesn't make any sense. It's cheaper and all that, but of course it needs time. So I was happy about being part of that.
Okay. Arkadaşlar gördüğünüz gibi paranızın %80'ini çöpe atıyorsunuz. Aklınızda bulunsun. Elektrikli araç sürün. Okay, so let's continue with your advice actually. So probably the audience will be like engineering background mostly.
Okay.
And do you have anything to share? Like it could be CV tips, the places to apply for the people, and like everything.
For Tesla?
Not for Tesla, but in general.
For engineering.
Because you have like a wide experience. Or maybe the people who want to change their direction.
I mean, resume CVs is, I think you can find a lot of tips over there. I've seen a lot because I was hiring a lot. Okay, let me give you real advice as a hiring manager, because I hired a lot of people to Tesla and I hired a lot of interns. I can tell when a CV is done by ChatGPT, you can, or some message, you can tell that is written by a machine. So beware of that. I especially as being English as a second language, I tend to use those tools to make sure I'm writing exactly, but then I review all of that, and I'll probably change a little bit, so it's my own tone, not artificial. So beware of that. If you copy and paste from ChatGPT, even for a cover letter, people will tell. So don't do that. Use it as a tool, the augmentation thing that you heard me last week in the class.
Yes.
As a tool to become better, don't be replaced by that. If you're having an interview through Zoom, look at the camera. Don't start reading on your screen like the half-baked answers to questions. Doesn't sound natural. It doesn't look natural. I can tell that you're reading. I'm not interested in see you reading. I'm interested in learning from you. So I don't care about how eloquent you are. Just tell me who you are and why you would like to work for that particular company and what's your background. So I've seen that a lot, especially for interns, for people that are just the first job. So make it more natural. As I said, my whole interview process at Tesla was super natural. Some of the actually took from the other side of campus. I took some of the interviews with all the beautiful blue sky as the background. So make it natural. I don't know why, but here in the US they're pretty strong about the one-page CV. Don't make it too long unless you're a scholar and you have a gazillion. And I think nowadays, if you are an engineer, I've seen a lot of people having their own website with kind of the things that they are interested in, like a portfolio, right? And then you have your GitHub account. And, hey, these are all my code. I think that speaks louder than maybe having a not so good interview through the camera. So if you have that, certainly clean it up and use it as a tool to present yourself and make a reference in your resume.
Okay, personal.
And if you're applying to engineering positions in Silicon Valley or Tesla, get ready for a lot of technical questions. So also you need to prepare. It's just not do your research. But also, I think that's a good point, that research is going to be done by the other hundreds of candidates that are going to apply for the same job. So find that particular thing about your experience, find your story, you're coming from Turkey, I'm coming from Argentina, she's coming from Turkey, I'm from Ireland. I mean, talk about, hey, I had this experience that is different. It's not better or worse, it's different from the other. So don't, again, ChatGPT and Google search, all that is great, but we are all doing the same. So find your edge.
Don't be replaceable by AI, you say. Okay.
Just learning.
Okay, I think these are my all questions, but is there anything you want to share?
You remember the discussion we had at the end of the last week class? About working from different companies? You remember that?
Can you say the beginning of it?
Actually, some of your colleagues, I mean, some of the other students asked me about working for Elon. It's good or bad? We started working for Meta. You remember what we discussed?
I think. Okay.
Don't worry, I'm just putting you on the spot. But I'm saying it's not an advice. It's whatever. But I think, especially nowadays, if you're good at what you are, you have good skills. You have negotiating power. Work for companies that you like their values, that their values are similar to yours.
Yeah.
If you can code AI, or you can code an LLM, or you can create AI, you can cure cancer or help solve climate warming, or you can hook more teenagers into a phone to see more.
Yeah, I remember the conversation, by the way. Yeah.
You want to say it on Turkish, but you can do both.
Yeah.
It's your choice.
Yes.
Where to? Probably some of they would pay differently, but also that's your choice. And when you're joining a company, you're also making a choice that speaks about you. So take that in mind.
Okay, let me tell this in Turkish also. Arkadaşlar, yani şöyle de bir olay var. Evet, çalıştığınız şirketin güzel olması çok güzel olabilir ama çalıştığınız şirketin de çalıştığı değer aslında sizi de değerinizi değiştiren, belki sizin de katkıda bulunduğunuz şey. O yüzden diyor ki aslında şirketlerin mottosu ve kendi değeri de önemli. Ne için çalıştıkları da önemli. Yani şirketin, markanın adının kölesi olmayın diyor. Okay. Thank you so much, Sebastian, for joining my video. It's really a nice conversation to have. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
İzlediğiniz için teşekkürler dostlar. Destek için kanala abone olun ve daha fazlası için takipte kalmayı unutmayın. Kendinize iyi bakın. Nasıl başardılar da son. Okay.
Exactly that. I got all of that. Okay. It was good? We did?
That was so interesting. That was so inspirational.
Oh, thank you guys.
Yeah. I think the best part about me doing YouTube thing is, via YouTube, I have the chance of talking to people and their experience.
I love what you're doing. I mean, we're talking again about where you're spending your time. You can do this, or you can do YouTube videos about, I don't know, anything else, or just conspiracy theory and all that kind of. So, again, each of us decide where to spend our time, and no matter what or where you're coming from or what you're doing, if you're helping others, you're on top of my list.
Yeah, thank you so much. You know, you spend your time for this.
Anytime.
I mean, I think people will love it.
Actually, cool.
You know.
Okay, I'm waiting. What, 3 million to you? Something like that?
I have like 1.2k subscribers right now, but it's
That's
like
a lot.
That's